As ridiculous and repugnant as this sounds, it is commonly accepted by modern science that humankind's early ancestors may have been reptiles. According to the Darwinian explanation of the origins of the human species, mammals evolved from reptiles and gained dominion over the Earth only after a great disaster of debatable nature destroyed the dinosaurs. It is theorized that only then were mammals able to proliferate and ultimately evolve into intelligent beings. It is rather remarkable that the ancient Sumerian story of creation should parallel so closely the Darwinian view. In both cases, humans are said to be related to a superior reptilian race, and, in both cases, a great cataclysm eradicates the earlier species. In the Bible, it was the hybrid race of giants known as the Nephilim that God wished to destroy. Finally, in both stories, the survivors of the disaster start anew, eventually evolving into humans.
At this point in the story, it has to be said that the causal relationships between these inferences are too weak. First, Darwin still cannot provide a reasonable explanation for several important archaeological facts, such as the Cambrian explosion, which I have mentioned several times. Many species originated from arthropods, not just humans. Many of Professor Sitchin's claims, previously mentioned, are still being challenged by the academic community. The Lacerda file cannot be publicly verified, just like the Sumerian mythology. Among many unverified claims, the one that has a complete explanation and can explain more details and answer more questions will be my best candidate.
In his book The Dragons of Eden*, the esteemed astronomer Dr. Carl Sagan speculates on the reptilian origins of humans and on the mysterious leap in brain evolution that can be found in the fossil record. He notes that if people had evolved naturally from reptiles, as Darwinists claim, it should have taken 200 million years for mammals to first evolve, and then another 5 to 10 million years for humans to evolve. But he notes with extreme puzzlement that the fossil record simply does not bear out this conclusion. In fact, the evolution of mammals, and particularly humans, was accomplished very quickly, in a major burst of brain evolution. The evidence for this is clear in the fact that stone tools do not appear gradually, but rather, they appear in enormous abundance all at once. In frustration, Sagan concludes that there is no way to explain this unless Australopithecines had some sort of advanced knowledge. Of course, there is another explanation, but not one any mainstream scientist would dare consider. That alternative is to admit that a higher power had a hand in accelerating the evolutionary process. Sagan ponders the similarities between the reptilian brain and the human brain. He notes that the core of the human brain contains a remnant of our reptilian past, known as the R complex. This part of the brain is said to be responsible for behaviors such as aggression, territoriality, ritual, and the establishment of social hierarchies. The middle layer, the limbic system, is thought to be the source of emotions like love, hate, compassion, and sentimentality, which are typically associated with mammals. The largest part of the human brain, the neocortex or outer layer, is believed to be the area of reasoning and deliberation, and is thought to be where we understand the difference between right and wrong. Once again, science seems to agree with the ancient creation myths, for it was the knowledge of good and evil, given to them by a serpent, that caused the first woman and man to fall from grace with the Creator. If the Creator was reptilian, then it could be that by becoming mammalian, and developing a neocortex, humanity became less reptilian, thus falling from grace. Other ancient texts bear out this disturbing conclusion. In 1945, in a small town in Egypt, a clay jar was found bearing ancient scrolls similar to the Dead Sea Scrolls. These are known as the Nag Hammadi texts, named after the town where they were found. They tell the story of human creation this way. The bodies of Adam and Eve were overlaid with a horny skin that was bright as daylight, like a luminescent garment. Thus, it seems, they didn't need clothing. Further, these texts tell a far different story about the tree of knowledge than that told in Genesis. She took some of its fruit and ate, and she gave to her husband also. Then their minds opened. For when they ate, the light of knowledge shone for them. When they saw their makers, they loathed them since they were beastly forms. They understood very much.
If the ancient scroll discovered in 1945 is true, then the so-called gods who created humanity, are they in human form or more like reptiles? A god in the form of a reptile seems more logical, and the creation story in this ancient scroll will be the same as the description in the Bible, with the only difference being the appearance. Isn't it more intuitive for a god to create new species in its own form? However, based on the time required for the process of human evolution mentioned earlier and existing archaeological records, they do not match. The the time for evolution is too short. If the source of the external force interfering with human evolution is a god in the form of a reptile, why would it make this new species look more like humans? Here I want to make a more avant-garde speculation. Perhaps the species that Lacerda belongs to is what this god created. Adam and Eve mentioned in the Bible are not our ancestors. Humanity has another origin.
If you liked this video, please share, subscribe, and turn on notifications.